Have you heard all the hype about castor oil? A quick YouTube search and you are going to see all kinds of headlines and thumbnails. Things that it promises, things that it cures, things that it can do for your skin, for your health, for your organs, for your eyesight. The list goes on. And there's one video in particular I keep thinking of. I mean, just like the thumbnail of this one just got my attention and I got so curious. And so of course I went out and I got some for myself, and I have been wearing it basically every day, all over, for well over 90 days. And I'm going to share my results with you right now. So first I'm going to share with you some of the claims that I've seen of what castor oil can do and the reasons that I wanted to try it, some of my expectations. Then I'm going to jump right into the successes, the fails, and some things that I'm still on the fence about. Maybe they will turn out to be true, but they haven't yet been proven to me. And then finally, I'm going to show you the products that I use, how I mixed it together, and kind of just briefly my routine of what I did with it, so you know what I used and how I went about testing this. So first, let me go over a few of the more specific claims. So some of the claims that I've seen for castor oil have been relatively simple and things you might expect, like it will help with moisturizing the skin. It will be a great skin moisturizer that will seep into the skin nicely. It's natural. It's not going to break you out. It's not going to irritate your skin. It's just going to be a wonderful, natural, healthy way to moisturize your skin. And then it gets a little bit more intense with the claims like it will help with fine lines and wrinkles. And then even more so, it can help with like sagging skin and scarring. And then some have said that it can heal wounds. And then even more, it goes into like it can heal diseases or cure diseases. And I'm not even gonna go into that. It can help with your eyesight. It can cleanse your organs on the inside. You can do like a liver patch where you spread some on that area of your body and you cover it with a pad or a cloth, and it soaks out the impurities and the things, and it does all this wonderful stuff for you on the inside. Or you put a big glob of it on your belly button and then cover that with cotton and let that sink in and cleanse the insides, and all other kinds of claims out there. When I decided to try it, it would have been very nice if some of those more extreme claims would be true. But I did not go into it with the expectation that they would turn out to be true. I was skeptical, and I really wanted to manage my expectations because I didn't want to be super disappointed. So I went in with very simple goals. Will it be a good skin moisturizer while not breaking out my skin or causing irritation? And because in part because anything can cause irritation to sensitive skin, and my skin leans sensitive. Also because it's an oil. And so like, is it going to clog my pores? Is it going to irritate my skin and make it worse while I'm trying to make it better? And then I have a couple of places where I would love for it to address like some signs of aging. And also I have stretch marks from having children. It would be great if it would help with those. So those were the general things I was hoping for. And I was skeptical, but optimistic, realistically hoping for some great things, but not like miraculous things. If the miraculous happened, all the better. So I tried this every day, consistently, and in this video, I'm going to share my successes, fails, and a few things that I'm still undecided or on the fence about. Some stuff that has not yet been proven to me, but that maybe are worth continuing to wait and see. I ended up purchasing a brand that was highly recommended by several folks who had done reviews and videos on castor oil and castor oil use. This was also highly reviewed on Amazon. I don't remember exactly how much it costs, but it wasn't terribly expensive at all, and I will link everything that I can still find in the description below so that if you want to use the same things, you can. The research that I did said that there's a few particular things you want to look for in how it's formulated and how it's sourced. So I looked for those things, and I looked for something that seemed to be from a reputable seller, and I went ahead and purchased it. I'm happy with the brand that I got. I'm happy with the product itself. As far as I can tell, there's no problems with it. I've been using it for a couple of months now, and it's got about that much left. So this is a big bottle, and it would seem like, how are you going to get through it all? And you want to use it somewhat quickly so that it doesn't go bad on you. But it's kind of easy to use if you're using it on your whole body. And now I didn't use it directly from this bottle most of the time. I'll show you how I put it together at the end. So I went ahead and I bought it, and one of the successes is this turned out to work out just great, and it's really nice that it's so easy to find. Another success that I found was that I was able to put this all over my face, and it did not break me out at all. I could slather this stuff. I could put it on my eyelashes. I could put it on, that's another claim I forgot to mention. People say that it helps your hair grow, like well, maybe your actual hair, but I didn't try it in my scalp. But your eyebrows, your lashes, and it will do all of that without also making like other facial hair grow, which probably you don't want. I don't know that it made anything grow, so I'm gonna come to that in a moment, but I did slather it everywhere on my face, and it did not irritate anything. It didn't irritate my eyes. It did not irritate my skin. It did not make my skin sensitive. It did not make my skin break out. I had no acne problems, nothing. So for an oil to be slathered all over your face, that's great. They say that it's got antibacterial properties, which is in part why it's good for acne. And it's part allegedly, and in part why it might be good for like healing wounds and things like that. I'm not prone to acne per se, but I am prone to breakouts if something irritates my skin, and that did not happen with this. I found it to be moisturizing, and I found it to be easy for my skin to absorb and to tolerate, which is great. It is thick, and it kind of slides, it like glides right on the skin, and it can look kind of slick and just sort of appearing to sit on top of your skin. It does absorb, and it does kind of dissipate. It just goes into the skin eventually, and it's great. Another success was that I was pleasantly surprised that this did not get everywhere. I thought that I was going to have like greasy sheets, and my remote control or my phone or anything that I touched after I used this was just going to be a greasy, nasty mess. And that didn't happen. Now, it did rub off sometimes if I had just put it on my hands and I touched something. Of course, it would come off a little bit, but I did not find that it stained my sheets. I did not find that it was a problem with like getting everywhere. Just somehow it did not turn out to be a problem. The things that I wore to bed, pajamas, things like that, I never had like oil slick stains on them or anything that couldn't come out in the wash. It was great in that way. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise, because while that has nothing to do with the results of the product, I was worried that it would be a total pain to use. Speaking of total pains to use, it is a thick, liquidy oil. Let me just show you right out of the container. I mean, it's slick, it slides, and it's thick at the same time, if you can imagine that. It is a very oily, thick consistency. It feels a little tacky to the touch. All of that said, I like the way it feels. I do not mind a thick moisturizer. I do not mind a thick body cream, body butter, lotion, all those things where it feels like your skin is slick. I actually like that. So that part didn't bother me at all, but I could see for many people that might take some getting used to. Now, an oil that I used to use and still use is just pure vitamin E oil. And vitamin E oil is also thick and kind of gloppy and pasty and, not pasty, kind of thick and oily and just It takes some getting used to for most people, but that doesn't bother me. So if you don't like the consistency of oil, you're going to have to get used to it here. It was moisturizing. It felt good on my skin. I actually love adding this to my evening routine. And I do feel like as it soaks into my skin that it's great and it's moisturizing and it's a nice final step to the other things I do. Another success, possibly, is my eyelashes and eyebrows. I did not take a real close-up before picture, so I don't know for sure, but I think my eyelashes are a little longer, a little fuller, a little healthier, and I think the same thing about my eyebrows. Does it look like a world of difference? No, but it's been, a couple of months, a few months. Maybe over time, it'll be even more. I am not disappointed with the results there. I'm just not blown away either. And so time will tell if it gets better and better, or if it's basically this is as good as it gets for me, which is a good segue to the fails. One fail is in the moisturization area, and I'm sorry I have to say it. And I was hoping that this would just blow all my other moisturizers away. I thought it would just make everything else look like that was, amateur hour because, this is the heavyweight. It did not do that, to be honest. When I first started using this, I only used this. I replaced all of the other moisturizers. I still put some of my face treatment stuff on because that's not what this is for. But I would just use this as my only moisturizer, and I was disappointed. I felt like my skin felt drier than it did when I would wear lotion, and that it wasn't as supple, and that like on my hands, it looked like they were showing more like lines and kind of wrinkly and little just not moisturized. And when I would just put some hand lotion on instead, so much better. Now, is it because my skin is like trained to need that kind of moisture and this is a better kind or so? I don't know. But I can go by what I see and how it feels. Does it feel dry to the touch or does it feel really moisturized? And when I first put this on, like right now, it feels very slick, oily, and moisturized, but not quite the same, and that will go away. So I have a new process, which I'll share at the end. Getting back to the fails, I was somewhat disappointed at that. And I think that that was the main thing I was disappointed about. I wanted it to really feel like the best lotion, moisturizer, body oil I've ever used, and it just wasn't that. Okay. Did I notice any of the other stuff, like reduction in signs of aging or tightening of my skin or anything like that? The honest answer is no, not yet. And that's okay. I didn't have high expectations for that. That would have been a very nice to have, but so far it hasn't really wowed me for that stuff. Is it helping with stretch marks? Well, I haven't really noticed a huge difference, but it's only been a few months. I intend to keep using it on those areas and see what progress can be made. I do not expect that it's going to make them go away. All right, the things that remain unproven. Well, I've already touched on some of them. Is it helping my eyelashes grow? I don't know, maybe, but I'm going to keep trying. And eyebrows. Is it helping with stretch marks? Maybe, I'm going to keep trying. Will it help with tightening of skin? Maybe, I'm going to keep trying. Does it help with any of the other things, like my eyesight? Is that any better? I don't think so. Has it cured anything for me? I don't think so on that either. I did try the putting a glob of it in the belly button and letting that sink in. I don't know if it did anything there at all. I don't think I noticed anything in the moment other than that it was kind of a weird sensation. I think I did it 2 or 3 times. It was an interesting sensation. I didn't notice anything life-shattering, life-changing from it. The organs that are in this area, I did rub it all over there, but I didn't try like the specific liver patch and cleanse thing. I'm curious about that. I just haven't tried it, so that remains to be seen as far as I'm concerned. So what is my overall impression of castor oil as a moisturizer, as a miracle worker, as the fountain of youth? My overall impression is that I like it. I enjoy wearing it. I will keep wearing it. I am curious to see what some of the longer term effects can be, but it is not the answer to everything, at least for me. It's not doing the most, but I like it. And I love that it's natural. I love that it's affordable. I love that it's accessible, meaning I can find it easily and I can have as much of it as I want, and that I can mix it up and do all kinds of fun things with it. Speaking of, how did I mix it up and how did I use it? Well, I did a couple of things with this. There were a few oils and natural ingredients that I used before I started using castor oil, before I tried castor oil. And I had basically 3 combinations of this. The first combination, or the first piece, was just pure castor oil. I wanted to try it just in itself, and that is what I used primarily on my face. I wanted to see what is that going to do for my face area, for signs of aging, for all that stuff. Just what can this product do in itself? Then I made another version for my body, and sometimes I would just use the pure castor oil on my body too. But for my body, I would mix in a couple other things. I would mix in jojoba oil, which is also a very popular body oil, skin oil, because supposedly the properties, the compounds, the things that make up jojoba oil are the closest to those of the skin. So it's the most skin-like oil that you can get from what I've read. And so I've used this as a nail oil. I've used this as like a carrier oil in other mixes that I've done. I've used this in making like a body butter or a whipped body cream that I've made at home before. So one version of my castor oil mix was castor oil with a bit of jojoba oil. And then to that, I would add vitamin E, just pure vitamin E, which I love. This is expensive and it's very thick, but it's amazing. And I love the way it feels. It feels kind of like castor oil, although I think this is even thicker. And I would mix some of that in, and it has great properties for the skin. And sometimes also as a carrier oil, I would use the Necessaire body oil. I had this already and I really like it. It's a thinner, more watery consistency than the other kind of pure oils. It's just a little more watery, but it's really nice, fragrance-free, fantastic product. And I've used this as like a carrier oil in addition to something like jojoba oil, and I've liked it. So I did that. One of the interesting claims about castor oil is that it is so potent that you have to be careful what you store it in, because, for example, if there's anything plastic, it can actually like leach out, break down, soak out some of the like chemical properties of the plastic into the castor oil. That's how intense the properties of this oil is, according to some. So I wanted to have containers that had no plastic, at least no plastic that would touch the castor oil or the mixture. So I purchased these little dropper bottles that are glass bottles with a glass dropper. And that way the whole thing is basically plastic free, except for this piece on the outside that doesn't touch any of the oil. And I got a size like this, which I think is like 4 ounces, and I got a size like this, which I believe is about 2 ounces. I also wanted to make a lip oil, like chapstick, just out of castor oil. I just thought it'd be great to just slather it on when my lips are dry, and maybe around the edges of my lips for just like moisturizing and avoiding like fine lines and whatnot there. So I got these little vials. It's just a very small glass tube, and it has this roller ball attachment that you put on the top. It's got a little bit of plastic, but there would be so little in here, it wouldn't last that long. Shove that in there, and then it has a cap. And when you're done, it's basically a portable. Now, some people use these to like mix perfume oils or whatever you want. I used it for making my own lip oil that I could just carry around with me. Okay, finally, how did I use it and how will I continue to use it? Well, basically what I would do is at night, I would do my full face routine, cleanse my face. I have a couple of serums that I use, and I use a retin-A. And I would let all of that soak in for a period of time. And then I would keep a bottle of just pure castor oil near my bed, so that the last step that I would do, once all of my other kind of active ingredients have absorbed, I would slather this on everywhere. Eyelashes, eyebrows, up into a little, almost into the hairline, all the way around down my neck and chest. And I would do that with just pure castor oil to just kind of test what can this do on its own. And I do this every single night. For my body, I would take a larger container, and this is the one I would mix a bit of vitamin E and a couple other things in, and every night I would, after I shower and after I moisturize. So this is where it's different. I tried it just by itself for a period of time, and I actually prefer to moisturize first. So you could use a lightweight moisturizer or a body serum or something. I would use something fragrance-free, something with simple ingredients, something that's not going to irritate your skin or be too much. I would put that on, let that absorb for a minute, not long, because I'm used to having lotion on my skin, as I've said 5,000 times. So like doubling up doesn't bother me, but you can just wait and let it absorb. And then I would put this all over on top. And one of the things they say about castor oil is not only does it work well on its own, but that it can really help your other products absorb. It is a great way to kind of lock in the moisturizing effects or the active ingredients of other products. Now, if that's true, then doing this as a last step should be great. And so I would put this on last everywhere, starting with and focusing on the areas of my skin that I either want to make sure get a little tighter or get a little extra attention, like stretch marks on my stomach or my arms that I want to tighten up, areas like that. And then of course, everywhere else. And then I go to bed. And surprisingly, I did not wake up and have like oil all over my bed or my sheets or like in my hair or anything like that. It would just absorb, and it was great. So that is how actually I plan to continue using it. I have enjoyed it. I think it is a good product to add to my routine. So far, it hasn't replaced things in my routine, but it has been a fantastic addition. So those are my thoughts, honest opinions, and just my experience with this particular product. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope you found something helpful here. I hope you like these kind of realistic looks at hyped products, because I get curious about a lot of them and I like to see what to expect in the real world. So I'm going to link as many things as I can down below. So if you want to get some of this and try it for yourself, you'll know exactly where I got the things I used. And I'd like to know if you've tried this already. What successes and fails have you had with castor oil? Please leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Come back again, see me next time. Be blessed. Bye-bye.